Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Ocala Talks. I am your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the palatial studios of WOCA Radio, just off the runway at the Brick City Beautiful, just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport in the Brick City Beautiful, Ocala, Florida. Joining me on the phone lines, he does every morning, thanks to the good folks at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, Just Shipped, and Penn Flooring. Galen Unall from Life South joining me. Galen, very good morning for me as a Braves fan, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, here I am in Ocala, Georgia, and the Braves clinched last night in Milwaukee. And again, I think we got one of these setups where the Braves are going to play every team that they used to in every city that they used to play in, and it was kind of cool. It was a well-played game, and the Brewers just were bitten by not being able to get timely hits. And Freddie Freeman.
What phone line are you on, just out of curiosity? Because you're really distorted. I'm just wondering.
I'm just on my regular cell phone.
Oh, I don't know. Just sounds a little distorted this morning. It's probably Georgia. Probably has to do with Georgia.
Probably.
We got 5G down here. They're operating on 2G probably up there. It's Georgia.
I don't know about that. We don't have 5G in Ocala.
Yeah. My phone says 5G in Ocala, pal.
Wow, big time. I didn't think they had it yet.
You just need to get a better phone. That's all I'm telling you. That's all I'm telling you.
Well, I don't have 5G, but yeah.
Well, you're not a big baller, though, shot caller like me.
No, man, I'm not rolling in a caddy.
No, you're not a big baller, not a shot caller. 20-inch blades, you don't have that. You don't have that.
No, sir.
So we moved a step closer last night to a all-Boston World Series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Braves. By the way, a little bit of trivia knowledge. The longest-running continuous professional baseball team in the major leagues, the Atlanta Braves.
Sure. Yeah.
Longest continuous professional team, the Atlanta Braves.
Well,
started in Boston.
Everybody else took off for a war, and the Braves were like, no. We can win this
We can
year.
win. Exactly. We're the only team in it this year. We got a chance. So, but, the Boston connection still got a shot at winning this thing. The Braves, though, got a tough road to hoe, whoever they come up against, whether it be the San Francisco Giants or the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it just reminds me of a time when baseball, you think baseball doesn't know what it's doing now. Some people say baseball doesn't know how to move into the 21st century. They don't know what they're doing. You don't think they know what they're doing now. 1985, the Braves were playing the Giants and the Dodgers all the time because for some reason they were in the National League West. So I grew up hating the Giants, the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Astros because the Braves were the worst team in that division for years. And so you just grew up hating those teams because they were all in the NL West. I have no idea why Atlanta was in the NL West. They were also in the NFC West for the longest time. It really made no sense, but that's what I grew up with.
At one time they were in Milwaukee, which was considered in the West back then.
Right,
so.
but the Atlanta Falcons were never in Milwaukee, but they were in the West too for some reason.
Because they were an expansion team. That's why.
1966. The Atlanta Falcons.
Expansion team.
The Atlanta Falcons, same age as yours truly. They were created the same year I was born. So, I got that going for me, which is not any advantage whatsoever. It's no advantage whatsoever. None.
Awesome.
Hey, so let me ask you this question.
Complete enlightenment.
Let me ask you this question. You working with Life South and everything, it was announced earlier this week that a brand new 12-unit emergency room opened in Bellevue. They're going to expand the Heart of Florida Clinic in Dunellen. Do those kind of openings of new emergency rooms, are those things that are discussed? Are y'all in on those discussions because of the supply of blood that y'all have to get to emergency rooms and stuff, or is it something they even bring up with you?
Yeah, we talked about it. We're not going to be. We don't supply either one of those hospitals. because one is owned by Advent. We don't supply them. But yeah, absolutely, because they do store blood at those places, and so there's an increased need. And what they usually do is they say, we're going to start this, you need to prepare for it. So, and freestanding EDs right now are just exploding because it's completely covered by insurance, right? And so the hospitals love that. And you add on to the fact that, it's easy, and now people are just competing for it. So they're not going away. I think there's just going to become more of them.
I call them pop-up EDs is what they are. There's one of them.
And by the way, it's an incredible service if you need it.
Oh yeah, because they have a trauma room in this pop-up. They have a pregnancy room in this pop-up. They got a lot of things that people in Bellevue could use without having to come all the way. And hey, if you're in an emergency, you'd rather go 2 miles from your house than you would have to come all the way into Ocala.
That's correct. Well, and especially if...
Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you for a second. You said especially, and then you went away.
Yeah, you especially want to get there as quickly as possible in an emergency situation. So, yeah,
it's one of those things now. There's one in Summerfield. There's one in Bellevue now. There's one on Maricamp now, right by the First Baptist Church. It's just one of those. It's one of those things where services are provided, and people go, "Yeah, well, they're walk-in clinics." No, these are actual EDs. These are actually emergency departments. They're not your walk-in clinics. These are actually emergency room physicians, nurses, people like that are there for emergencies. Yes.
Yeah, they're highly trained, and again, from that standpoint, I think they're fantastic. So.
Well, yeah, because let's God forbid you have like an accident in the yard or something where you're mowing grass or something. From your house to the ED on Maricamp is a whole lot closer than the ED downtown.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and when you get there, you can be seen quicker.
And that's huge. I went to the emergency. Sure. I went to the ED on Maricamp 5 weeks ago, Wednesday, with my leg, with the swollen up leg. I was in the waiting room all of about 7 minutes. And was in the back with the doctor. I was literally in and out.
Sit down.
I was literally in and out in under an hour.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't even sit down. So
right.
it's state of the art. My wife is actually over the laboratory part of that ER. So yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Oh, your wife oversees the lab at that ER, huh? I may need to pass me some tests when I go in there. I need to pass. I don't like to fail. You know what I mean?
Well, good luck.
I got an inside now. Get her to cheat for me. Is that what you're saying?
She has all the answers to the test, but doesn't mean you're capable of completing those answers.
No, 100%. I'm not capable of completing those answers.
Yeah.
So, Galen, from Lifestyle Jones, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Galen something. I had a discussion with my wife this morning, and she was very adamant about it. So I recognized right away. It was one of those things not to step into. I said, I'll talk to Galen about it when I get him on the radio. It'll probably be a much easier conversation. We'll do that next. You're listening to Ocala Talks on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA. The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we provide quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Wednesday, it's hump day. The commercial never gets old for me. It really just never gets old. Galen, you know, is on the phone with us, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring, Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation, and Just Shipped. Galen, before we went to break, I told you that I had a conversation. I didn't have a conversation. It was really one-sided because I was smart enough to see that there was no reason for me to interject this morning because she was set in what she thought, and there was no reason to try to dissuade her, persuade her, just roll with it. Yes, dear. Finish eating the wonderful omelet she had cooked me and get out. And on my way to work, I said, I'll talk to Galen about it. That's probably the best plan. And it concerns.
I am here for you.
It concerns the freighter ships that are littered all throughout the Pacific coast and the East Coast because they can't unload their cargo because of lack of employees at the shipyards to unload the cargo. So there's cargo just sitting in ships waiting. Some ships have been sitting for upwards of 14 to 18 days waiting to get into port to unload their cargo. And we were watching a news broadcast, and one of the talking heads suggested that it's about time that a state of emergency was declared and the National Guard was brought in to start unloading these ships. And my wife went, "What? Bring the military in? Why would you do that? Just so we can have things on shelves? I mean, you know what? Just wait. That's all you do. It's not gonna. You know, this isn't an emergency where you need the military involved to bring in cargo. Just if you can't wait for it, you don't need it that bad." And it was along those lines. And she was adamant that there should be no state of emergency. There should be no government intrusion at all. And I got to thinking, you know, is she right? Because I think she might be, that this is something that is supply and demand, and capitalism and the military and the federal government should stay out of this. I think my wife was probably right, Galen.
Yeah, she absolutely is. And again, when you start, you can't rule this country by federal edict. And that goes hand in hand with mandates. And here's why, Tom. All that does is put a Band-Aid on a much larger problem, A. And B, the National Guard just doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the personnel, doesn't have enough personnel to be able to even put a dent in the problem. The problem is when the federal government is paying people to stay home. Right?
Yes.
We all agree. Even the federal government now agrees that people need to go back to work. Right? And so the best, there's two things make change. And I'm a firm believer in this. Two things. Pain and God. And so these people, you know, need to feel a little pain in order to make a significant change in the way they operate.
Yeah,
and by the way, this is exactly what Bernie Sanders wants.
Of course it is.
He believes he wants bread lines. He's even said that before, right? He believes that bread lines are good. This is inherently in his soul. He wants socialism. By the way, people, this is what socialism looks like.
Yeah, and Bernie Sanders is okay with these things, with these shortages, because it will lead to, look, you have to rely on the government to get these things for you. Obviously, private businesses can't do it for you. You see, there's bread lines. There's plenty of boats out there with stuff on it, but they can't get in because capitalism is a failure. If the government was overseeing all this, it would be perfect. We would be. That's what we need to do. And I think my wife hit it out of the ballpark when she recognized that right away, that if Joe Biden steps in and he declares a state of emergency and he brings up the National Guard to do this, that's exactly what the far left wants to happen. That's exactly, look, see, it took the government to save this. Private business didn't do this, the government did. That's who you should be dependent on, the government.
So in the next step after this is, and they talk about it all the time, you can see their playbook. So it's the national housing crisis that's going on all over the country, right? And they call that homelessness. It's not homelessness, it's a national housing shortage. So then we can bring in and have federal government housing, not Section 8. Section 8's a little different because it's owned by private people, right? There's just some offsetting of tax dollars and things like that. But completely federally funded housing. FEMA trailers, right? Reservations, that's next. You'll see that's next.
Yeah, and I think that's the road we're headed towards if we do something like bring up the National Guard to do these kind of things. I think that's the next step, is they'll start infiltrating every aspect of life, whether it be unloading ships, whether, like you said, providing housing. Then all of a sudden we have a national electric company that tells us, gives us our power. It's no longer privatized. So now the government, if the government don't like what you're doing, they can cut power to your house. They can cut the heat off if they don't like the things you're saying. It leads down to a road of totalitarianism and communism.
Or you're not vaccinated, right? It's the same thing. So, you're not vaccinated? Well, we've decided that it's probably best you get a lesser level of energy, right? Or, you're going to have to already go and shop in a different location. Your child's not going to be able to go to school. All those things are key.
Yeah, when my wife when she went off on her tangent, I was sitting there and I didn't dare say a word because I hadn't thought clearly about what she was saying too much. I was just taking it in. And my first thought was, those boats need to be emptied. They're just sitting out there philandering. It's a great, and then the more she talked, the more it settled in on me. And the more I thought, wow, she's actually spot on with this. This is something that those boats need to sit there if there's food out there rotting, it needs to rot. It needs to, we need to understand the government coming to our rescue is not the answer. That's the problem.
It's not food.
That's the problem.
We don't import. We don't import.
Right,
food.
I know, but I understand that. We do import some food, some citrus and stuff in the off seasons when we don't have a big stock of it.
Well, and that comes up from Mexico.
Right,
so,
right.
But I understand the point. But you know what? This Christmas needs to suck.
Yeah, it does. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about electronics and toys and plates made in China and Taiwan, that you buy at the dollar store for $1 a piece. Those kind of things are what's sitting out in the ocean.
Right, and your electronics that require a chip that your child wants. That there's a difference when there's a shortage because every child in America's got it, and then there's walking in the shelves and everything's empty. Those are two different. There's one thing getting up because your child wants something, and so you're standing in line on Black Friday. It's completely different. It's going to be very, very fascinating when you can still. Here we are, 2 years away, 18 months into this pandemic, and you still can only buy one package of toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't even get started on the toilet.
People need to go to work. And again, I mean, it's how many studies have done about people who work are, healthier. They're less depressed. They feel like they have a point in life, and they have higher self-value. They're better parents, better citizens, all these things. But that's not what the far left wants. They want socialism. They want empty shells. They want people to rely on Uncle Joe, right, for everything.
Well, those who, like Lyndon Johnson said, if you make them dependent upon you, they have to vote for you.
That's correct.
And that's been the moniker. That's been the moniker of the Democratic Party since Lyndon Johnson said that. And you're seeing how just distorted that can become when you have people like Bernie Sanders, who has said publicly, bread lines and empty shelves are good for America.
He also believes in inflation. He wants the dollar to be useless. So again, there's a reason why he was in Russia for all those years. And they kicked him out. Got kicked out of a commune. So yeah,
the only job the man has ever held is politician.
Correct.
Never held another job.
You really want to see some corruption. Look at his wife and her history. Wow.
Oh. Wow. I'll have to deep dive in that.
Enjoy.
I'll have to deep dive into that.
Yeah, you can't be married to a guy like that unless you're all in on the corruption side too. So.
But
yeah.
Can I get a kudos from you though, that I was smart enough 10 weeks into this marriage, I was smart enough to know that I was going to say something, and I go, no, shut your mouth, shut up, let her talk, and then when she gets done talking, process what she says. She may be right. You don't think she is right now, but wait for it. And I did. I shut my mouth, didn't say anything, and I processed it. And lo and behold, I knew when I come on the radio to talk to you that you'd tell me your wife is right, and you were a smart guy for shutting your mouth and not arguing with her.
That's one in a row, Tom. As another married man, congratulations.
Yeah.
Take these victories when you can. Enjoy it, embrace it, and just let's move on to the next fight. Maybe that one you'll have a valid point.
That's the beauty of it. I defer to fight because I was smart enough this time to shut up, listen to what she has to say, and take it in. And then, if then you still disagree with it, you can have the conversation. But don't jump into a conversation right now without giving it a second to process, just because you want to be right and you want her to be wrong.
That's correct. Yeah, that's one in a row. That's like an adult type level commitment.
So
I'm pretty impressed.
So the Braves win last night. I win this morning. Boy, I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll pretty good here.
You need to control yourself. This could get out of hand. It could go to your head, and now you're cocky again, and you're in hell.
Yeah,
so let's be smart. Let's take this one victory at a time, and go from there.
And that's a realistic thought. So all I'm doing. Hey, what I did this morning was I followed the game plan. I was able to accomplish the goals that I set for this week, and that's on to next week, on to the next game, and that's all I can worry about now. That's all I can think about is what I need to do to prepare for the next game. I can't worry about what's coming down the road. I only can deal with what's in front of me, and that's what I'm dealing with now.
One game at a time?
One game
at a time. One argument at a time?
That's all you can do.
That's correct.
So it's really all you can do.
Again, let's walk away with this, learn from it, and again, we're going to try to keep working hard, and let's bring home a victory for the household of Tom Schmitz.
I agree. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this short timeout. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.